So we're going to start off the base. So the aim that I'm going for is the terrain underneath him is sort of an old, shall we say, imperial building that's on some now overgrown sector. So I'm going to do the base. The primary colour is going to be a nice dark grey. I'm going with Adeptus Battle Grey. And we're just going to cover 90% of it in grey. So this base is from one of the special basing kits that you can get as an extra bonus. I really recommend them because they add a nice little bit of life to the models as opposed to the bog standard flat black that you get. And you know, the whole thing with these models is to try and bring your creations to life so that you can, you know, really enjoy them. Now this little symbol that's here, I'm going to do that as a sort of corroded piece of copper, so it's going to have some technical paints on it to make it look all corroded and aged, but I would normally do a black base coat on metallics, which I'm not doing here, so the grey is my base coat. Now the other thing to sort of show that this is going to be a now, you know, planet ridden world as opposed to something which has lots of industry and stuff, is that I'm going to use some flock on the base in the cracks and things to simulate that grass has grown. Now you want to be careful about not going onto the areas that you've spent time painting around the feet and whatever. So I just find if you try and flatten the brush onto the base and then push it in to the cracks and crevices that you're trying to cover, rather than going for an actual brush stroke, you're much less likely to hit your model and stuff up all of your effort. Okay, so that's him with a bit of grey basing. I'm just making, I've missed a couple of spots. So. Oh no! Got some on his leg. Let's see if we can get that off quickly. Okay. That's mostly off. Haven't completely stuffed him up. And essentially all I was doing was washing paint, getting water on here, making the paint thinner, then wiping my paintbrush off and recovering it again and again and again. Oh well. Bonus lesson there. Just remember to keep calm and keep painting, because it's not the worst thing in the world that can happen. Okay, so that's step one, just adding a nice consistent base, although actually I'm going to just do this raised lip around here as well, although that'll probably end up just getting covered with black. So I mean, I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but normally once I've finished with the base, I will go and do the entire black edge sorry, the entire edge in black, which just sort of draws the attention to the actual model. So now I'm going to paint the symbol on the ground with Warplock Bronze, which is a current colour. It's a very nice dark bronze, which actually has a slight green tinge to it, which is good. So this is actually really sort of blurry shape, I guess you'd call it. Like, it's not well defined at all, but that's okay. We'll use some Newland oil to help define it a bit, and the oxide paint as well will make it have a bit more definition. Okay, so that's that. Already starting to look nice. Just something else I was going to show you that I'll probably end up doing is I have these little tufts, I guess you could call them, of grass, and you just put a little blob of PVA glue and then put this on, and it just, oh man, it takes the whole model to another level. It's awesome. Here we go with the Newland oil, just getting it deep into the recesses so that they get a nice addition, even though they are going to end up getting filled with like flock and grass and stuff. This will still just help make them look a bit better on the sides. Okay. There's some extra details on that I hadn't noticed. Interesting. Okay, and that's got some more detail in it now. Right, cool. That is the shading. So now I'm going to dry brush the rocks to give them a bit of definition, and for this I'm using another grey but a lighter one, Astronomican Grey, again an older paint. So we're just gonna highlight up the edges, and I know this isn't a real edge, but who cares? Who's gonna arrest me? The edge lords? Wait, hang on. Anyway, moving on. It's still a bit wet in here, which is slightly frustrating. Thought I'd got rid of. Thought I'd given it enough time to get dry. Okay. So again, this is all just adding extra layers, making the model pop a bit. So this brush is a little bit too wide to get in between his legs properly. So I'll grab a smaller brush. Do that. Okay, so I'm going to come at this from a strange angle. Okay, so all these rock features starting to get a bit of life in them, like they've been walked over for a long period of time. Okay, and that's the highlighting. So next thing I'm going to do is the oxide colour. Now the oxide is a little bit strange. It's a really quite runny liquid, Nihilith oxide. It's chalky is the best way I can describe it. So you put quite a lot of it on and then you wipe a lot of it off, and the lower areas, just like a shading, sort of pool it a bit, which is kind of how the rustiness on coppered things actually works in real life. So you just need to make sure you've got a bit of tissue paper ready once you've put this on, because there's a very runny chalky paint. It's weird. You'll see the nice effect it has though. So put on quite a lot. Have a little bit running over the edges, that's fine. Okay, and then we take a bit of tissue paper and we just wipe it off. And you get this weird sort of aged effect to the metal, which is awesome and looks really good. And it looks like it's just sort of, been sitting there and slowly oxidizing away. So that's about all the impact I want to have with that stuff. And so I'll just let that dry and then we'll get on to doing the flocking. Alright, so I am using just some good old standard PVA glue, wood glue for this part. So this is how you flock a model. So I'm using the Citadel modeling tool, and I'm just gonna drop some glue into these recesses. And then I'm going to shove it down so that it goes into all the nooks and crannies. And so this can take a while to dry. So once this part is done, I'd probably leave this for a few hours. But seeing as this is, other than blacking the edge, the final step, this is going to be fine. Okay. So I'm also going to put a blob of PVA glue just over here. So that we get a little tuft. Although actually, no, hang on. Let's not do that. Okay, so now, how do we get the flock on? We have a flocking tray. So this is a flocking tray, and it's full of flock, grassy flock, and you literally dump the whole model into the flock. And then tap it off. You probably have more than you expect on the actual model. And make sure you close this before you do what I'm about to do, because otherwise it goes everywhere. Pick up your model and blow. Okay. So this little area that I changed my mind on, just going to scrape that off. Okay, so there we go. We have grass growing in our model, in all those crevices where we wanted it to be. So it kind of looks like, the world is being taken over by forests and whatnot once again. Then I'm going to get my little tuft of stuff. So these come on sheets of quite a few. So I'm going to get my glob of PVA glue again, put it here. Then I'm going to get a tuft. This one looks good. And just pop it onto that PVA glue. Just push it down. Okay. And there we go. We have painted quite a nice little Tau model there. We've got some extra detail in the bottom by having that symbol hidden in the rocks. We've got this nice tuft, which is making it look like there's quite a lot of overgrowth going on. And we've got some really cool effects with his eye and lasgun and bolters. Not bolter, rail rifle. It's a rail rifle. Okay, so yeah, I'll black up that rim and then we'll get a nice little promo shot of the guy. Thanks for watching.